Shalom and welcome to another episode in our series called Faith Journeys with God in the Land. In this episode, we're actually climbing the top part of Mount Arbel overlooking the Sea of Galilee. Are you ready for an adventure? I hope you are, because we're at the top third of Mount Arbel. Behind me is the Sea of Galilee. You can see, no pun intended, the shoreline here on this west-northwest corner of the lake. But what we're going to do in this unique video is we're going to climb all the way to the top of this cliff. It's called Arbel. Now, as I try to maneuver my camera here and pay attention to the pathway, what we're going to do is consider Arbel as a mountain that, even though it's not mentioned in the Bible, in the Gospels, I have to think that Jesus must have been on the top of this mountain from time to time. Remember, he distanced himself from the crowds once in a while. And what better place to do that than to climb to the top of Arbel? It's also a good possibility that maybe the lower slopes of this mountain here, overlooking Magdala, by the way, was where maybe the kingdom teachings took place. For instance, Mathew 5, 6, and 7. As you can see, we're using some handholds here to make our way up to the next level of this path. And we'll do this carefully as we want to watch our step. There you can see below me the area of Magdala, by the way, where Mary Magdalene came from. There's a first century synagogue there that's been discovered, and maybe, just recently they found another structure that they are calling another synagogue, and that would be really a first in all of Israel. There's only 7 or 8 first century synagogues in Israel that have been discovered, and that would be another significant discovery if they uncovered a second one in the same city. So here we are making our way up this pathway. It's more of a trail, I should say, as we enjoy with every turn a great view of the lake. Now, it's a little hazy today, but I can actually see Mount Hermon, which is Israel's highest mountain. It's about 35 miles north of the northern edge, or the tip of the lake itself. The Sea of Galilee, incidentally, is 13 miles long and about 6.5 or 7 at its widest point. So here we continue upwards. And let me also say that after Jesus was resurrected in Jerusalem, he tells his disciples to meet him on a high mountain. Now that's quite interesting, because here in the Galilee, what mountain would that be? I would like to suggest that it was Arbel. We read this in the last chapter of Mathew, chapter 28. And as we continue to make our way up this trail to the top, could it be that this is where Jesus met his disciples and then offered him what we know as the Great Commission? Go into all the world and make disciples. That's quite amazing to me, and really inspiring, if you will, to think that maybe where we're climbing to is where Jesus shared this inspirational talk that would motivate his disciples to go and make disciples themselves, as Jesus then would ascend to heaven from Mount of Olives in Jerusalem and hand over the ministry of the kingdom to these disciples who followed him from this Galilee area and would be used of God. So what faith lesson can we learn in our climb up Arbel? It could be that we need to turn to God for strength and protection and good ankles, if you will, so we can safely make it to the top of our journeys of faith. But maybe a more serious one is that we hear these words again that Jesus spoke to his disciples. And again, if it happened somewhere here near the top or on the top of this standalone mountain, go and make disciples of all nations. That's our task in our faith journey. We are to be used of God to share the good news in our journey of faith. And just like this trail is, sometimes that's an uphill challenge, is it not? And yet, that's what we're called to do. I love this trail. I climb it every trip that I lead. And it's not for everyone because it's a challenge. It's about close to 1,000 feet in elevation gain. But you can see what we're accomplishing here. My group is ahead of me, and they're all enjoying this experience here on Arbel. So in our faith journey with God, we endure the uphill climbs and challenges because we keep this in perspective, that God has called us to make disciples. So here from the cliffs of Arbel, near the top, I hope that you are encouraged in your walk of faith. The beauty of the lake behind me really represents where Jesus did share his kingdom message. On one of these hills, it could be Arbel, could be further to the north, Jesus taught about the kingdom. And Luke preserves the narrative where he taught about the kingdom somewhere in the plain. That's perhaps somewhere below us. So being part of the kingdom and exhibiting and displaying these kingdom principles, I think is really a big part in sharing our faith story with others, so that others, once they see Christ in us, can become one of his disciples too. So from this trail going up to the top of Arbel, be encouraged in your walk of faith. And until next time, shalom.